Sissy, come. Beo, Svanas with the advent calendar. Sit there. Come sit here. Come. Come sit here. This way. Come this side. This side. Here. Good boy. Now see Christmas fun. Literally. You know, we always say that. Good to see Christmas. Okay, let's see. Wait. Take it easy. You can't be behaving like this on your first. Is it a cameo? What is it? What do we call it when this is on? First appearance. There you go. Merry Christmas, Lucy. Say Merry Christmas to everyone. Okay. Bye. He's like, I'm out of here. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Christmas episode. And if you're watching this on Christmas Day, Merry Christmas. If it's any other day, hope you're enjoying the holidays. We're so excited to be doing this episode because it is our 8th one and it's the last one of the year. And it's been quite an exciting year. We officially launched on the 1st of August and we finally got the photos. So you're going to get to see those in this video as well. Thank you so much to everyone who came through to that launch. It was exciting. And I think it just gave the whole thing a lot. You know, we just launched it with that event. So today's episode is basically just reflecting on the year and talking about what's to come on this channel. First and foremost, where we started and where we are. It's an interesting thing, but it's good. I think it's where it exactly is supposed to be. When we got together and started up on the idea of this channel, what it looked like and what it looks like now is quite different. But I'm so glad that we allowed it to develop into what it is. And what's even more exciting is we just came out of our first guest episode and we're going to have more of those next year in 2026. So one of the things that happened is we allowed for that shift and made it more relevant to what it's about. So if you are watching this and this is your first episode, I highly recommend that you start at episode 1. There's just 8 of them. So, you know, it's not too far off. And next year, we're going to be starting up quite a different structure where we have shorter videos that are going to be coming up on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. So if you're not subscribed on Instagram, also highly recommend that you go and subscribe on there because we're going to be having shorter videos talking about topics that don't really require long form. So just, you know, interesting topics, something to do with hair or something like that. Because some people have been like, Nyashaà, what happened to naturally Nyashaà? So we will have that next year coming up on Instagram and YouTube Shorts and some stuff on TikTok. TikTok is where we're going to be having quite a bit of fun. I hear there you can do yes. So I've been trying to do yes. So bear with me. Send some ideas or whatever the case is, but let's just have fun. This is a big part of what this channel is about. In one of the episodes, I did mention this, and it's something that I always like to say. And I mentioned it to a group of people this morning that life is deep, but it's not that deep. Have fun. No one makes it out alive. I know that sounds like a scary thought, but it is what it is. There's a guy in my uni who used to say that no one makes it out alive. So don't take life too seriously, but have fun, live with intentionality. And so we love that we allowed for this channel to develop into what it wanted to develop into. And it might develop into something else next year. So we're open to that and open to what is going to happen. Like any other year, 2025 has been packed with a lot of things. We laughed, we lived, we gained, we ululated, and in some cases we lost. I did attend a wedding this year, actually one, which is quite unique because I do tend to attend quite a number of weddings in a year. But one of my close friends got married and had the honor of hosting the wedding and the bridal and the rora. I was that auntie. Was all over the place at this wedding, but it was such a privilege. And to anybody who got married this year, congratulations. To everybody who graduated this year, who achieved something that they had been looking forward to, congratulations. And to those who lost, my deepest condolences. In this year, I lost one of my close friends who I went to high school with, who shares a name with my husband, tragically in September. And it was a week after his 36th birthday. And it's such a hard thing to lose your age mates and the reality of our mortality. And so to anyone who has lost this year, praying for you and praying that God continues to comfort you and that you're taking each day as it comes. The other thing that we got to do this year is attend some different events. There was the executive branch. I'm so grateful for that opportunity. Got to meet Mpumi Ledwaba and host her in a sense. It was a different type of hosting, just taking care of her, driving her from one place to the other. I even got to drive a Range Rover. And I can tell you for free, zvakasiyana hazvo ndine mota hangu yakanaka but nongonamata zvinonditirawo nani pamberi apa ndoramba ndichishanda ndizombotengawo Range because wow soft life it was giving. So yeah, that was a big part of the year, meeting her and getting to host her. A whole lot of other events that I was invited to and participated in, but we will reflect on some of them on this reflection basket. So I'm going to ask Karen to pass me the bag of reflections. There's some questions in there. So let's see. All right. Okay. All right. The first one is Zeus looks like he also wants something from the bag. This one is for me. Okay. My favorite trip is going to go to It's going to be Doha. I had a trip to Doha. I use Qatar Airlines, and it's usually the bus stop. In aviation, when you're flying a particular airline, you stop in that country's airline. If you're rolling your eyes because they're like, duh, Nyashaà, everybody knows that. No, please don't take some information for granted. So you fly through that country and then you fly to the other countries. So because we use Qatar, always fly through Doha. But this time for my birthday trip, which I celebrated 5 months later, I decided to go to Doha. I think the thing that I loved the most about being there was how safe I felt in a country that people may think that I, as a woman, may not feel safe. There is a certain level of, it could be fearful respect or whatever the case is, but I never felt threatened. I never had anyone catcalling me, which is something that happens a lot in my country. And if I can't just walk around and just be, but I did like that walking around and just being. Yes, people are cordial. Yes, people will greet you, but it's quite respectful. And so it was so interesting and something that stuck with me that I felt the safest in a predominantly Muslim country. Not that there's anything off about being Muslim, but it's a different religion from mine. And so stereotypically, we are fearful of other religions and have reservations of them. But there was such a beautiful experience, and to be able to, and I've always known it, but to experience it firsthand, that level of respect, that level of care and love from the people there really inspired me. And what was interesting is it was very close to a Christian mission trip that we were going to be on. And there were certain things that happened within my community, which is the Christian one, that made me feel less safe than actually how I felt in another space that predominantly has another religion. And there was a challenging of ideologies within my faith. And one of the things that was kindly requested of us, and this is not even to throw shade or to throw anyone under the bus, I'm just sharing my experience, my perspective of it, was we were required not to wear nose rings at this mission trip. And just very few of us were going wear nose rings. I've had a nose ring for almost 6-7 years now. No, actually more than that. And I've never felt that it impedes or affects my faith in any way. And so I was stuck in this moment of having to make a decision between pleasing the people and conforming to that or standing my ground. I don't think it was anything that was going to be life-threatening, and I worked through it and it wasn't going to affect much. I know you might be watching this and thinking, oh, maybe they felt like you would not be as impactful or not be as respectful. I beg to differ because I've been to that place before. And when I got there, interestingly enough, the person who served me at the counter had a nose ring. And so I was like, oh, okay. It's not as conservative as people may think it is. And interestingly enough, if you'd like to do a bit of research, just in case this you are like, Nyashaà, nose rings were actually worn a whole lot more in Bible times than earrings. It wasn't a symbol of anything or trying to be rebellious. It was an adornment, and an adornment that is mentioned in parts of the Bible. And if you were to Google what a Jewish woman looked like in the times of that era before Christ, if you're working from that timeline, they are likely going to have a nose ring. And so these are some things that I then reflected on, and things that I've been reflecting on this year in what we perceive as modesty, what we perceive as appropriate as societies, and what is culturally influenced and what is actually scripturally influenced. And within that context of scriptural influence, what is influenced by the culture within those scriptures? Because this was happening in the context of people and life. And so there definitely was some influence to it. And so looking at it, being in a predominantly Muslim country and they're having people where we would assume they're more conservative than us, and that people wearing nose rings. And then going on to the faith that I'm a part of, which considers themselves more liberal than this faith, and then there being an uptightness about something like this. So it really got me reflecting on a lot of things that led to some conversations that we're going to talk a lot about in 2026. Guys, 2026 is going to be fire. You do not want to miss an episode because this is just a preempt. So I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but it's something that I really wanted to talk about and share on a mindset shift and something that has been going on. So we're going to read the next one and what the reflection is. And I see, gosh, big. I use this as a handbag. So you just, there you go. All right. All right. Okay. A hard lesson. Okay. This is a good one. Okay. So hard lesson. There were two of them. So hard lesson and an event to reflect on. In November this year, I was invited to an event of female industry leaders by the British Deputy Ambassador, Dr. Jo. Dr. Jo she's amazing. So she invited a group of women and we had a high tea in the afternoon and spoke into gender-based violence and the prevention of it. So there is an organization, and I would love to just share a few statistics on that. And we are going to have a lot of talk on this topic because it leads and weaves into a lot of things that we like to talk about on Officially Nyashaà. So there is this fund called the We Are One Tiripamwe Sisonke Fund, and they hosted the high tea in collaboration with the ambassador. Just a few statistics for you to get us going on gender-based violence. And these are statistics. 12% of cases are reported to authorities. 1 in 4 girls faces some form of gender-based violence. This is speaking about girls, and it's not to say that gender-based violence does not affect boys, but in particular, on this day, we were discussing girls and women. There is an average of 1,500 cases of gender-based violence recorded monthly. And annually, response organizations deal with 16,000 to 18,000 cases. We are talking about reported cases. We're not even considering cases that are not reported. And when we mention organizations, different organizations, you might know a few: Musasa Project, Adult Rape Clinic, Zimbabwe Women Lawyers Association does a lot of work towards this. So this We Are One Tiripamwe Sisonke Fund is a group, an organization that facilitates for crowdfunding that goes towards helping eradicate or rather fight against gender-based violence. And so the core was to see how we could reach out to our communities. And this here at Officially Nyashaà. You are our community. And so I would love for you, if you can, we're going to leave a link on here and just a bit of information for you to have a look. And we will talk a lot about this, on how we can help fight against gender-based violence. And if you know anyone, or if you are suffering in any way, and I think sometimes we think about violence and we think of kuroa, and we don't realize that there's a lot of other ways that you could be violated. And so if you are experiencing any of this, please, you are more than welcome to get in touch with us on any of our platforms, and we will assist in connecting you with any of these organizations, just to get the process started so that you could get the help that you deserve and you need. So this was a hard one for me, because there are a lot of people within our lives. The statistic of 1 in 4 is overwhelming and astounding. And also being a survivor of violence from a very young age, this is something that is very close to my heart. And so please do have a look at this. Okay. That was the hard stuff. Next reflection point. Whew, a lot of hard things this year. Okay. Favorite souvenir from my trips. Okay. This one is actually going to be an interesting one. Karen, may you please pass me that little envelope? This is something that I got this year at Robert Gabriel Mugabe Airport. And on a work trip, I decided to actually shop for stuff as if I'm leaving the country, because you don't get to do that when you arrive in Zimbabwe. So you actually, I don't know what it has to offer. Does that make sense? You know, when you're leaving a country and then you're going to pick up something from there. I'm going to take that again, because did I just say, you know, when you're leaving a country? And then someone's like, yeah, ma'am.
But also,
like, man, you know, when you're leaving a country. I feel like we should leave this in. Then, you know, I'm going to leave it in. I'm going to say it again, but we're going to leave it in. Because I heard it and I was like, yeah.
Your privilege was like,
but you know what? Okay, I'm going to say something. And it's rolling, and it's up to us to keep this in. And I did say we're going to keep it in. But they gave us ansanda pets. Nditenderei ndipedze nyaya yangu. And by now, if someone is still watching, you know, you're still rolling your eyes. Just stick around and continue to roll your eyes. It's a means to get from one place to the other. So that's transport, and and vanhu vanoshandisa mari dzavo kuita zvinhu zvakasiyana. Pane vamwe vanhu vanotonyatoshandisa mari dzavari muno maHarare vachitongoitawo zvimwe zvinhu. Ndege kuenda kuSouth Africa nekudzoka $250. Imari yakawanda, hanzi kuti haisi mari yakawanda. Asi $250 ndo same money inoshandiswa namwe vanhu kumwa madrinks. Popa mabottles. $250 ndo inoshandiswa futi namwe vanhu kutenga payaboots. Ina hangu ndinofarira kutenga matiketi endege. And ukaramba wachatenga unogumisira wane madiscounts, because ukaramba uchitenga matickets wane ma-frequent flyer miles. Vamwe vanhu vanofarira kutenga, murume wangu anofarira kutenga magitari, hamusikaona zvenyu frame. Andomashandisa anda mari yaari kushandira. Vamwe vanotenga maBrazilian, avo nemari dzavo. But pane zvinongoitika kana uchitaura nezvekuenda kunzvimbo, so unongoita kungewo uri kushamisira. Because hasi zvinhu zviri kuitwa nevanhu vakawanda. But passport munhu asangokwanisa kuona passport. Saka handisi kuti vanhu ngavasafile kuti kushamisira. But I think it's just what society has decided kuti kushamisira. And what's not. So no one is possibly going off at someone for buying a car is a flex. It doesn't even matter what sort of a car it is. That means in Zimbabwe, you at least have $7,000 ish. If you're, because Mazona tengeswika less than 10 years.
It's only 8K. Takaona pass later.
Yes.
According to Meta, that's 8K.
8,000.
Kupinza
Yes, kupinza pass. That's a flex. 8,000 is a lot of money. So, but no one's going like ukushamsira. Watenga pass yako. But unakatenga imwe type yomota abanza ushamsira. Saka ndangoti it's your thing. So, muchandiregero pamwe nepamwe muchanzo nchitaura kuti you know when you're living a country.
Now we know.
Now by context. Yauti mari yangu indinoshandira ndege mungenye. Catching flights, not feelings.
Frequent flyers.
Okay.
Kema frequent flyer miles.
Kuti zvinoita it's okay. No, it's very saka pampachoka. Actually, on a trip, it was cheaper for us to fly Qatar than it was to fly Ethiopian. Every time I have Googled to get flights, because of the time of when I get flights, it's usually cheaper for me to use Qatar. But when people hear Qatar, they're like, eh? And the amount of money that I spent on my birthday trip in Qatar was less than what I was going to spend in Victoria Falls, because my initial venue of choice was actually Victoria Falls. But it ended up costing less to fly out of the continent. I will post my itinerary and you'll see the pricing. Accommodation was about $300 for a whole week. You cannot get that in Vic Falls. Nyora in my comments. And also I had a birthday discount and an additional frequent flyer. So because of that, it ended up being much cheaper to leave the country. I think I fully justified kuti akuskudada shako. And on another episode, I will let you know how my husband and I traveled to Cape Town for 4 or 5 days. I came back on $900. That's another episode. All of us currently signaling to say, guys, me, I will make it happen. Can only know that. Shangfana neighbor with my drinks. By sota my days of COVID. Very cool Pablos. Back to the souvenir. You can't even say, I digress. But back to the souvenir. So I got into the shop and got envelopes which had stamps on them. And the stamp that is on here is the stamp that was active when I started boarding school, when I went to high school. And so it was such nostalgic to see that. And it reminded me of a different time. I know I don't want to call it an easier time, because I think grieving for the past unreasonably doesn't help anything. Zimbabwe is never going to be the same again. Any place will never be the same again. And so I often hear people go like, and it doesn't help anything. I think it's good to celebrate it. And yes, we can be sad about certain things, but it's forward, onwards. And so it reminded me of a different time when we used to write letters. And what it did is it inspired me to start writing letters again, because there's nothing that stops us from writing letters. And so I write letters, and the post still works. I received a ticket from another country. There goes those weird traveling flexes again. A speeding ticket from another country via the post. So the post still works. So this Christmas, send someone a letter. Mastempa Chiriko. It'll be a beautiful and nice surprise. So yeah, that was light. And that's the bag. Bag go paso. Oh, Elias. Elias is like, what? Okay. All right. Lessons learned from the renovation. Okay. So I know some of our Allbodies are very attentive. I think at some point I spoke about an arrangement that we have with our landlord, which is a very unique one, but it came about due to a number of factors. So it might not be the same if you were to try it, but it's worth thinking into. So where we stay, we've stayed here for just over, just between 5 to 7 years. Let's just put it there. And we are our landlord's first tenants. When she bought the house, there were other people living in it. And then when they moved out, we were the first ones to then sign a lease with her. And there were a lot of things that were a bit amiss. And we've always liked to fix up the place that we're staying because we believe that that's our house as much as it's a rental. And you don't know how long you're going to stay in that place for. I know as Zimbabweans, we all aspire to build and to have our own house. And so sometimes we live in the future and not live in the now. We like to live nice. And so we'll paint a space. We'll talk to the landlord if we can change the floors. And so we started doing small things. We changed the geyser and would work it out with her and say, if when we're now moving, if she wants, we can take the geyser because we had paid for it. And she said, no, it's okay. You can put it on rent and you keep it on there. It also helps if you have a nice landlord who has enough resources to be able to forego a rental like that. And I think because we were aware of that and because we had developed a relationship, we knew that it wasn't, this is her end all be all. So that does contribute to the factors that allowed for this arrangement. At some point, we were working on a renovation on another project in our line of work, and we started picking up a few things, and we saw that those items would be more affordable because we sell things that we take off of a house, so that we put that into the project. So we started to buy things to use at our current house. And then I said to the landlord, how's about we actually renovate the house? Because she's always wanted to stay in it at some point later on in life, but it doesn't have a few comforts that she's accustomed to where she stays. So it doesn't have an in-suite bathroom. It was just, some of the things were old. And so we're like, we could do it. And so she wouldn't have to bear the cost of consultancy, few other things that we're able to do because we're the ones staying here. So it is to our advantage, but also she gets to benefit. And it's at very affordable rates. And we are able to talk to the people we work with in our industry. We've got trade discounts. So it ends up costing way less than what it would if she were to renovate the house on her own. And so she said, yes, this was such good news for us and also so beneficial for us in the future that we didn't know at the time, because we happened upon hard times about a couple of months after that. And so fortunately, because we were already not paying rent, because rental was meant to go towards construction, we didn't have to bear that cost. And that made all the difference in that trying time. And she is so gracious. I think she's been here at least 3-4 times, maybe 3-4 times in the whole time. And I always laugh with her and say, ma'am, what if you come here one day and we're not there? We moved and we haven't done a renovation. She's like, no, I know you wouldn't do that. So it has to be a lot of trust involved to come up with this arrangement. And so our lease is in two parts, where we have a lease and a contract that is tied to the lease. So we finally started on the work. And I will tell you this, I always say to my clients, Atidis Rima, Bano no Garapa site. And here we were staying on site. You know, when you are the contractor, the designer, the client, in a sense, because you are staying there. So it was something else. We've done a lot of work for a lot of our clients, but there was something so unique about doing work in a place that you're staying and getting to make those choices. And I had so much respect for my clients. I learned so much. But the thing that I also really, that struck me, you'd think with all the construction that we're involved with, we know that you can actually do this, like anybody can do this. We're not anything special in the sense of how we work and how we do stuff in Zimbabwe. We earn pretty much on average what people who do our line of work would earn. And so it's middle income. In Zimbabwe, there's extreme types of income. There's the people who we wonder, And then there's the rest of us. We are part of the rest of us. And then, of course, there are people who are paid way less than they're meant to be paid. So I'm not necessarily trying to also, again, be talking about impracticalities. But I never thought I'd be able to build because of what we earn. It's not even practical, because in Zimbabwe, a stand in a place where you'd like to stay is at least $30,000, $40,000. And you're thinking, I don't even make that in a year. So to even fathom doing that is it's out there. And you could consider getting a mortgage, but the process is also, it's shifty, particularly if you are self-employed. There's a lot of red tape and paperwork to it. It is getting better, but it's not as straightforward as it would be in another space. Even considering with our business, we've gone and approached our bank for assistance in some cases where they can see we've got money coming in, and it's roundabouts. But if you've had good experiences with this, please, I would love for you to come on here and educate us on how we can actually get mortgages and what that looks like and the reality of it. Once we started, we were so impressed on how we were able to actually do it. I remember the day that the bricks backed up on here, and I was like, it gave us a renewed sense of fearlessness that you can do something. And so when I look at people who've done things like this, where you've built, and I'm not saying please put yourself out there to do something because society says we all need to own houses. But there's something about it when you set your mind to it that it can be done. And there are people around us who've built, and we've been so impressed with how they've been able to do it. Because once you dig the ground and the foundation is there, somehow you just find the energy and things just work out, whether Mombo Mira Umbojga, KFC, whatever the case is, whatever indulgence that you have. And so I think it was such a big lesson, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to play landlord before actually becoming a landlord. There were so many things that we learned and will probably tweak. And so we are really grateful to our landlord, just in case she's watching. A big shout out to her. So, lessons learned from building. And we finally come to the end of the last episode of Officially Nyashaà for 2025. Thank you so much. Woo! Today I did my own makeup, so I don't trust my crying. I think I did a decent job. It's not a mirror, but thank you so much for the love, the support, subscribing. We recently had someone in the comments write, I'm here from Instagram, and it's just so heartwarming. And please continue to do so. We're here to have a good time, to have a chat, to just vibe and have so much fun. Please share, comment. My comments, tunja my comments. Some of you come to the DMs and you're like, Nyashaà, I have so many questions. Please ask them. Ask the questions. Nothing is was I going to say without what? Nothing is no. Off limits is a tricky one. Nothing is. I don't know the way. Yeah, no, musazeze exactly needed Shona bundles. Musazeze. Because I think if we say nothing is off limits, there are things that are off limits. There are boundaries. But musazeze. Someone even asked me kuti saka chicha kazoitika muenza auya. I'm like, no. Thanks for asking, but go back and watch. We do actually conclude kuti chicha kazoitika muenza auya. So please ask the questions. And to celebrate, we're gonna do like an Instagram thing on the YouTube and blow a candle. We had said that when we get 300 Instagrammers, we're going to blow a candle. And then that happened and we forgot. Then 400 and life was happening. We're going to do it. So this candle is just blowing out for everything for the year that 2025 has been. Is happy 2025 to us. Happy 2025 to us. Oh, too much laughing. It will blow the candle out. So here's to you, Allbodies. Yay! Nah, this smoke is a paid actor. Back. This is going to be the least edited episode. Just going to roll with it. This is for the main Allbodies. So my first shout out is going to go to Karen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Karen, for just always being the vibe and then talking on my behalf when I'm done on camera. Because I'll be so tired. So thanks, Karen. It's been such a pleasure, and let's continue to make memories. Messi behind this is so quiet behind the scenes, and thank you so much for pushing, even when I'm like taking 20,000 business days to provide the material. Thank you. Appreciate you so much. Here's to 2025 and to calendars in 2026. That will be at least 70% adhered to, which I think would be an improvement from maybe 45%.
2026 is our year.
We go again. You know that girl.
The stairs, girl. Yeah, we're going to do our
No missing calendars. And to Sissy, thanks for being the vibe auntie.
And for his home. We rented his home.
Yes, thank you, Sus, for your house as well. We finally did our own thing, but thank you. Yes, yes. Well, no, that's for his abode. 3 episodes worth of rent. No, he lives here. Soft life for free. And to Raymond, thank you for carrying the backdrop and everything. And thank you so much for maintaining the best type of face possible whilst editing. When you just want to punch my beard off, but you still suck it up and you edit these episodes. So big shout out to the Allbodies. It's hard work. Mercy tried to edit. Buy us coffees, please. Basket going around. Thank you guys. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Ready? Cheers! Someone said my life is a paid act.